Head of the Government Peace Panel, Marvic Leonen, visited Solar News earlier and explained the different aspects of the peace deal. Pia Hontiveros interviewed Leonen, and here are some excerpts.
I remember that yesterday you said that you were very deliberate about language,
yes,
as should be the case in negotiations. So the title, for example, of the document is the Framework Agreement, not Memorandum of Agreement as it was back a few years ago. That was a deliberate.
Yes, it was deliberate in order to distinguish this agreement from all the past agreements with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. This is the mother part, or the mother agreement for the final political settlement with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. So therefore we called it the framework because it contains the roadmap as well as the principles and values that informs that roadmap towards the final political solution in relation to the Moro Islamic Liberation Front.
Chapter 1, which is entitled Establishment of the Bangsamoro. The Bangsamoro is the new autonomous political entity, NPE,
yes,
as opposed to what the MOAD which called it the juridical entity.
Yes. So the Bangsamoro now is different from the BJE. This now is the Bangsamoro is now the new autonomous political entity that we mentioned in the decision points that we published in April.
Yeah.
And the idea was an entity that will replace the ARMM.
Item number 2, under establishment of the Bangsamoro, you talk about a ministerial form of government. And you said, is it correct? You said this is almost parliamentary. Is that right?
Yes, almost parliamentary, in which case it will be political parties that will be given primacy rather than clans, rather than feudal lords. So here it is critical that there be electoral reforms that will build genuinely ideological or principled political parties.
Was this put in here to allow them to change leaders? Because that is what it's like in a parliamentary form, right?
Yes, and so that the governor or the chief minister would be accountable to the people through the representatives rather than the governor being accountable to Malacanang. However, the entire region will still be, according to the Constitution, be under the supervision of the President.
Will this particular provision, item number 2 under Chapter 1, will this require or need charter amendments?
No.
In Chapter 2, entitled Basic Law, item number 1, you say the Bangsamoro shall be governed by basic law. This basic law, this is what the Transition Commission will be crafting.
Yes, it will be similar, in fact, it would be, to the point of view of the GPH, the Organic Act. So there is an Organic Act that established the ARMM. This was Republic Act 6734 as amended by Republic Act 9054. And here it will be called the Bangsamoro Basic Law. Approving a plebiscite, then it will take effect.
Chapter 3 powers, you outline powers here of the central government, reserved powers, there are exclusive powers for the Bangsamoro government. Sa item number 2, you talk about the powers of the central government.
Yes.
Defense and external security, foreign policy, common market and global trade, coinage, monetary policy, citizenship, postal service. Why is it important for us to outline these items?
Because we wanted to communicate to the public that the MILF already accepted the idea that the Bangsamoro was an autonomous government but within the Republic of the Philippines, that it will not have its own flag, that it will not have its own monetary system, that it will be subject to the foreign policy evolved by the Republic of the Philippines, that it is the national that complies with Pacta Sunt Servanda, which means treaties that the Republic as a state enters into, that it is not in fact a separate state.
Chapter 4, Revenue Generation and Wealth Sharing, items 1 and 2, you talk about taxation in general. This means taxation is no longer a power of the central government.
No, it is
so
still.
Hindi na sila magbabayad ng tax.
No, it is still a power of the central government. Note in number 2, the opening clause consistent with the Bangsamoro Basic Law. So these are delegated powers of taxation similar to that contained in the Organic Act of Republic Act 9054. There will be no double taxation. So if income taxation is already set by national government,
walang income taxation,
it cannot be set by the local government or it cannot be set by the autonomous government. However, in terms of our Organic Act, I suppose people do not know that the autonomous government has the power to collect. And the share of national government is transmitted by the autonomous government to the national treasury. And they hold their own share of that national income taxation. There are autonomous region taxes that can be imposed. And this is almost similar to that, provided that it is delegated by law, and this is entirely constitutional.
Chapter 5 talks about territory, and my question na lang po dito is, ang territory ba na outlined here in your 2012 Framework Agreement, is it different from what was in the MOA 80?
Yes, definitely. There are no other annexes. So the territory is this.
Okay.
And also, unlike the MOA AD, the core territory will undergo plebiscite. In other words, the people will be asked a single question. Do you approve of the Bangsamoro Basic Law, and do you want to be in it? And all of this, those enumerated, are therefore going through that plebiscite.
Okay.
Furthermore, the area that is described here is definitely less than the ambitions under the MOA AD.
Chapter 6, nakalagay dito yung basic rights.
Yes.
Pero when you go through it, right to life, inviolability of one's personal dignity, are these the same rights enshrined in our Constitution?
Yes, that's why in the beginning it says, in addition to basic rights already enjoyed. But you see, Pia, it's important that we also send a political message. A peace agreement is a political document too. It's more a political document than, I would say, a legal document.
Chapter 7 is transition and implementation. This is the trickier part, no?
Yeah,
You have to
yes.
execute what you wrote. So,
Yes.
walang specified time frame. But if you're looking at 2016,
Yes, so we work backwards.
you work backwards.
Yes.
Does this mean that you will need Congress to enact a law before
Prior
it bows
to.
out?
Yes.
Okay.
So it means that the Transition Commission must be created immediately, that they draft a law, do the consultative process, give it to Congress, Congress disposes of it, approves it hopefully, gives it to the President, and then the ratification process happens.
Normalization, this chapter 8, let's just breeze through it, no? So, it's so important, not just in the envisioned Bangsamoro, but anywhere in the country, or for
Yes.
that matter, anywhere in the
Yes.
world, no? But you needed to spell it out
Yes, because
in
this
detail.
is what we ask MILF to do in exchange for the political commitment of government. Key here is number 5. The MILF shall undertake a graduated program of decommissioning of its forces so that they are put beyond use. So this is the key to this particular provision.
Okay. But if you decommission the Bangsamoro Islamic Armed Forces, are they the ones who will also serve as the
Not
police force
necessarily.
of the Bangsamoro?
Not necessarily. Police force should be professional, should be civilian, has some relationship to the national police force. The entry requirement is college degree.
Okay.
So it's not necessary that the BIAF will be transformed into a police.
Final words, Dean?
Well, I hope that people do what you just did, which is to actually go through the agreement. The agreement is just 13 pages. But I urge the people to read it not as a strict legal document, to read it as a political manifesto. One group politically committing to the other in order that an understanding is very clear as to what the two sides will do. Government will now take this agreement and find ways to put it within our legal system. So again, and then of course that people try to reflect again. How can we help in terms of this process? Having peace in Mindanao will lead down to the development and prosperity of everyone in this country.
That's right. Thank you very much for coming here tonight, Dean Marvic Leonen, Government.